Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Crossing Swords. As always, I'm Andrew.
And I'm here to ask the questions that you didn't even know you wanted answers to until today.
No, I mean, to be honest, until last night we didn't know there was any questions we didn't know the answers to.
I think deep down we always knew.
No, I feel like we're quite fulfilled, strong, deep men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's on my dating
There's
profile. Whether I
layers.
believe it or not is another question.
We're like Shrek in appearance and in the fact that, well, me anyway, that there's many layers.
Yeah. And you can find Shrek at Shrek World, is it? That's an inside joke. You don't need to get that. That's just mockery. Pure mockery.
Yeah, it's just very fitting to your personality, actually.
It is. I feel like I want to... should I give the context of that or not, do you think?
You can do it if you
It's,
like.
I'll
I'm
do
not that
it very
worried.
quickly because it's one of my favourite moments. So we were playing a game, like a board game, and the thing is, you get a category, and this particular round, we pre-read the question to these guys. So it was big, and one of our listeners, Dave, listens in, and they had this thing. So we read it out: UK theme parks. And they had to then tell us how many they thought they were going to get. And Big quite confidently went 6. and Dave kind of went, well, hang on, let's play it safe. Let's just make sure we get some, because you can't move forward unless you get what you say. And Big just went, no, I'm taking the decision for you. Turned to the rest of us and went 6.
To be honest with you, he was being an indecisive little bitch. Someone had to take charge.
This is 6. And then he looked at, just before we turned the timer on, he looked at Dave and he kind of went, 6, we've got this. Turned the time around and his first 2 were Alton Park and Shrek World.
The thing was, in the moment, what I thought I'd said was Alton Towers, Fort Park, Chesington, and then Shrek World, because I thought Shrek World was a real thing. What they heard was what Jake said, which was Alton Park and Shrek World.
First 2 straight out the blocks.
And then literally Dave fell on the floor laughing, he was in pain. And I'm sat there thinking, like, what's wrong with these people?
It's hilarious.
I just smashed 4.
He didn't get it.
I just smashed 4. Do you know what I mean?
Very amusing. Shrek World.
So who's going to start off with the questions?
Well,
you don't seem to have anything in front of you.
I've got them here.
Oh, in his phone.
On my phone.
I did the hard work, guys.
Kind of like,
I wrote mine down.
Like 21st century, it's no big deal. So I've got 10 overall.
Okay.
We can sort of discuss. Some serious, some not so serious.
Yep.
So the
hopefully
first
we
one.
haven't got the same ones.
Oh, well, if we have, and we just skip through them.
Okay.
No big deal. Like you, I'm very confident. I'm going to look you in the eyes and I'm going to tell you, we've got this.
That's a lot of eye contact.
That's how I roll.
It's arousing and disturbing.
I get that a lot. It's a lot of feedback. It's really common feedback.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Number 1, is cereal a soup?
No.
Also, by the way, guys, we want you to tell us what you think of these questions. So hit us up.
Great. Please tell us what you think.
You can hit us up at Swords Crossing on the Twitter or Crossing Swords _ podcast on Instagram, and just tell us what you think.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't in the same place then at all. You were in full promo mode, and there's me like, no, it is not a soup.
Why not?
Because it's just not. That's not how you make soup, is it?
Well, but what
describe how you make a soup to me, Jake.
Well, it depends what kind of soup you want.
There's no soup where you just like take one ingredient and flop liquid on top of it and it makes a soup.
Minestrone?
No, it's more than one ingredient in minestrone.
And some noodles and some stock. Bosh.
That's not soup. That's not soup. That's noodles.
I'm just saying that's minestrone as far as I'm concerned.
No, that's not minestrone. Minestrone has like tomatoes, spaghetti, it has garlic, it has God knows what else.
Okay, but what? So if you're saying if we pick one of those cereals where they have loads of stuff in them, like dried fruits and stuff, that might qualify.
No.
Just flat out no.
Yeah. Well, you're not giving me enough of a reason why it's a soup.
It's just liquid, isn't it? Liquid and some bits.
So literally for you, anything liquid is soup.
Can I drink it as a meal, like as a substantial meal? Can I drink it? Soup, innit?
Do you consider smoothies a soup?
That's a drink.
No, but people use it as a meal substitute.
Yeah, but not normal people.
I don't know, a lot of fitness people.
Again, not normal people.
Well,
and I say this as someone who has gone on a bit of a fitness journey.
So you're saying that anything, so you're being contradicting, basically. A smoothie's not a soup, but everything
I am
else
being
is.
really contradictory, just for the point of being a bit of an arse.
But it's not a soup.
I mean, I've dragged it out as long as I can. I agree. I don't think it is a soup.
No, that's fair enough.
But it's a, I don't have like a real definition for why it's not a soup. It's just a gut feeling.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think for me, like, soup is normal. I mean, I know there's like gazpacho, is it?
Gazpacho, cold soup, yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I was going to
but
mention.
normally there's not. In general, they're hot. Something that's cooked for a while.
No, it depends if the restaurant's any good that you go to,
That's a fair
how
point.
good the service is.
That's a fair point.
But it's just like a gut feeling. It's like, do you know sport?
Yeah.
There's always this, is that a sport? See, I've done this a few times with a few different people. We've tried to sit down and work out a definition of sport. How do you tell it's not a sport? And it's just a gut feeling is what it comes down to.
I think for me, what it comes down to is there a certain level of effort and skill required for it to be a sport.
Because arguably, like when you watch table tennis at the pros,
Like, I think
it's
if,
full on,
if someone
but it's
can
not
be
a
a
sport,
pro
is it? It's a
at it
game.
and look like me, then it's
Well, that's what I thought
probably
it was like.
not a sport.
But then, you know, cricket, they're super fit. It's a game though, isn't it? It's not really a sport. I
Yeah,
like
but
cricket. I really
football's a
like
game.
cricket.
Football's a game,
But football, I see football is a sport to me.
but it is a game.
Yeah, it's a game also, but I think cricket is just a
Um,
game. And it's a game I really enjoy, but I don't think it's a sport.
No, I think the standard of cricket now, like, I think maybe if we were still, like, before we were born, perhaps I'd agree with you, but I think now the standard, like, maybe not even before we were born, like, when Freddie Flintoff was at his pomp, he wasn't the fittest person in the world.
No, but he is very naturally athletic.
Oh, absolutely. But no, I would say now it's far more athletic than it used to be.
Anyway, I've sidetracked. Sorry. If you want to flash one out, and we'll throw it out to the people.
Okay. What orange came first, the fruit or the colour?
I mean, historically, or like
I mean,
in
what
terms
do you,
of
what do you think
the
came first?
dictionary definition.
I mean, I don't think they would have said, well, the orange.
Well, I think oranges were around before the English language.
But would it have been called an orange then?
Well, I think because I think
Like, you
people
don't-
chose the colour
Like,
based
no
on
one
the
walked
thing.
up to a banana for the first time and went, banana. Do you
No,
know
but
what I mean? Like,
there's like a few things that are yellow, food wise as well. Like there's a few
Yeah.
different yellow foods. There's a few different there's lots of green foods. No real blue foods. Not naturally occurring blue foods. That's just a thought to ponder on, and I'll leave it there and go. But orange.
I
there's
feel
only
like
real.
you're making me feel like I'm ingesting a lot of blue food that I shouldn't be.
There are a lot of orange stuff, but let's face it. How many times have you confused them? Like I've picked up. Can't tell you the amount of times I've picked up like tangerines, clementines,
And thought
and
they were all an
oranges,
orange.
and all thought they were the
Yeah,
same.
yeah.
So I think people have gone, oh, well, we'll call that an orange, and then like, well, that's also orange. That's
Well,
the
then
colour.
do you think
What do
the
you
colour
think?
came first then?
No, I think I think the colour was based on the food. What do you think?
Well, yeah, that would make sense because they would have imitated the colour they saw there.
I think so.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, it's a nice way to look at it. I can't really disagree with that.
This is going to be another one of them podcasts where we're looking to disagree and we just
No, I've definitely
stumble
got
through
one question that I know you're going to have an opinion.
I think I've got it. I think I've got the same question. I think I know what it is. I think I've got the same question.
It just
Should we
popped
just-
into my head.
Should we just wrap through the others and that's going to take up most of the time, innit?
I really hope it's the same question.
Undoubtedly, I reckon it is at this point. Right, I'll ask a second one.
I really thought I was being clever by slipping it in with my question.
I thought I was as well. There you go. We're both predictable dicks. How many holes does a straw have?
Oh, I've got that
Have
one.
you?
I have.
I'll try to take it.
Well, technically, does a straw have a hole?
That's a good. No.
That's the
a
way
good,
I approached
That's a good
it
question.
Because it's
there
designed.
There are so few people that would take a question like that and as silly as that and be like, I'm going to apply a real level of.
Well, it was just because, like, it's not like they took a block of paper and then punched a hole through it.
No,
It
they
was
sort of
designed
wrapped it round.
So, like, I'm inclined to say one.
I think one. I think once it's complete, it
If you
has
c-
got a hole
If
through
we're
the middle of
saying
it.
it's a hole, then it's just one.
Well, it is a hole. I think you can't, by this very definition of a hole, that's a hole.
No, but I couldn't fall into it.
Depends how big the straw is.
Nah, there's no straws that big.
I reckon in America.
I've got a lot of girth.
I don't know though. Breathe in, you'll be all right.
No, there's no straw.
Straight down.
That's bringing a new definition to the word of being sucked off, though.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. There's always time for smart on this podcast.
Yeah, always. Right, so yeah, we're agreeing to one hole.
One
and a
hole.
straw. Right. If you punch yourself in the face and it hurts, are you weak or are you strong?
I see. That's a good question. I
I think you're a fucking idiot because you punched
Yeah.
yourself in the face.
That's what you're doing it when you're in a fight. If you're losing, to G yourself up, to get angry, punch yourself in the face. I learnt that.
Yeah,
Shout out Barry. I learnt that.
I really hope that's true.
I think it's all about. See, it's not. I don't think it's got anything to do. It's got to do with your pain tolerance, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's not.
but
got
I think
anything
that's
to do with your
what. But
strength.
like, do you consider someone with a lower pain threshold weak, and someone with a stronger one
Like,
stronger, or
I
is
don't
it just?
think. See, I don't think I'm very strong, but I don't think I have a very high pain threshold. So I think if I punched myself in the face and gave enough welly to it, it'd hurt,
Yeah.
and I'd probably start cussing and swearing and
Well, the thing is, I actually don't think I could punch myself in the face that hard. I think something
couldn't bring
would
yourself to it.
always
There's
stop
a
me.
self-defense.
Yeah, yeah. But say that wasn't there, I think it would fucking hurt if I went full whack. Do you know what I mean?
Is that because you think you're strong or because you think you're weak? That's the question.
I think no. I've got a higher pain threshold now than I probably ever had in my life since having tattoos. But I don't think I'm that strong, so it's a bit of both. Bit of both.
Yeah, it's an interesting balance, isn't it? It's a very fine question. And what we're really saying is we've brought these interesting debates to the table and we don't really have an answer to them, some of them.
No,
I think it's up to the listeners to decide.
it's for you to decide.
I think so.
Mm.
Is that a cop-out? Yeah, many people would say so.
Absolutely.
But, do we care? Not
Well,
at
look,
all.
We're just men, for God's sakes. We don't have the answers to everything. We can try. We can talk about it. But much like women, we'll talk about it to the point of we don't have a point.
It's nice. It's good. I think, didn't you mug off women in a previous episode as well?
Yeah, I think like there's
You're
been
consistent.
this reoccurring theme, and it's quite funny because I actually quite like women that I come across.
Can
as
I just
quite-
say, that sounds like such the defence of a misogynist. That could not be any more
The
like a
thing is,
defence.
once you get labelled a misogynist, it's impossible to
To
crawl
shake
out
it.
of that hole. Like, I could go around doing shitloads for women for charity and, like, literally saving women off the streets. And they'd be like, it's just doing it for the attention. Do you know what I mean?
That's the
Like,
thing. Like, I can picture
I
straight
could be
away
doing that
someone
now,
being
not telling any of you.
someone being labelled a
I'm not.
misogynist online, and their first defence is to come out and say like, no. I actually, how can I hate women? I like women.
I do
I
like
love
women.
women.
Look, to be honest with you, if I'm being honest, would it make life incredibly easier to be gay? Probably, to be honest with you. But sadly, that's just not the way I roll.
No, well, not most days.
No, there's the odd occasion when there's been a few drinks and he's Spanish. And I mean, sorry, that's a different conversation.
Yeah, didn't we say we wouldn't talk about that in public?
But we weren't talking about Raoul, no.
No, that's fine. We'll just
Shit.
move on. I didn't hear it.
That's fine.
I don't
I
think
don't
anyone
think they
heard
did
it.
either. So what's your next
So,
one?
well,
Moving
is that not?
swiftly on
Is that
from-
not your next one? Oh no, you'll punch yourself. Well, this is a bit more of a
How did
serious
we-
one
How do we get to Raoul for punching yourself in the face?
because he was a very aggressive lover.
That was probably it.
So this is a bit more of a serious one. Have you heard, and I'm sure you have, and I'm sure a lot of people have, thanks to Marvel's WandaVision,
not
Theseus'
watched it.
ship. The
Sorry, we spoke at the same time and I missed completely what you said.
Have you heard of Theseus' ship? The Ship
No.
of Theseus.
No.
It's this philosophical ponderance that says if you replace bit by bit his ship, if you replace the outer hull and then the mast, at what point does it become a new ship, or is it always the same ship? It's Trigger's broomstick from Only Fools and Horses for those of you that are less inclined towards Greek mythology.
I don't like Only Fools and Horses, so.
But Trigger's broomstick, as he says, here's a picture of me and my broomstick. I've had that for 14 years. It's had 19 new handles and 12 new heads. And they're like, well, how the hell is it the same broomstick? He's like, where's a picture of it? I don't. What more do you want? So it's that
I
debate.
think once you've probably hit the 55% mark, 51% mark.
Did you
with
just think
new
50 and then
parts.
thought that's too low? I need to go a little bit higher.
Yeah. 51% because it's the majority, isn't it? So 51%, then it's a new ship, I would say.
That's fair enough. See, I'm not sure how I feel about it.
All right, maybe 75.
I mean, are you just going to keep upping the number till I agree with you?
Maybe. No, I'm sticking to 51.
You're sticking to 51. It's a good Brexity number. We like that here.
Yeah. What about you?
I don't know. I think because obviously, and I know this is the whole point of having these debates. There's an argument to be had for both. There's an argument to be had that it's as long as you replace it bit by bit. Once you put something new on, and it blends in with the old, it's now part of the ship. It's now part of the Ship of Theseus. So then, by the time you replace a new bit, this bit over here that you've replaced is a part of the ship. Which doesn't really make sense the way I'm saying it, but someone will follow my logic.
Well, I think it depends. If it's done over like a long period of time, so say like this ship is in service for 100 years, and over the course of that 100 years, every bit of the thing has been replaced at some point, then it's still the same ship. But if you were to literally build a ship and then start the process immediately,
Equally then, and this is a way to think of it that kind of I've just realised does change my perspective on it a little bit, is if you went to like a museum and you went, I'm going to stand on the Ship of Theseus or whoever, and you go, this is amazing, I'm a part of history, you go, but actually every single piece of this ship has been replaced slowly but surely over the last 500, 600 years or whatever. Obviously, I'm not picking Theseus for that 500, 600 year span. I'm thinking more sort of Elizabethan era. Yeah. And you think, well, then I'm not really part of history because nothing that I'm touching has been touched by, Sir Walter Raleigh or so whoever it is.
I think it's more of an argument of is it dismantlement or repair? It depends on which way you choose to look at it. If you're looking at it as it's lost something every time it's been repaired or every time something's changed, or you can choose to see it as it's just been fixed, it's just been added to, it's been repaired. So I think it depends on which way you want to look at it.
And it is a very interesting part, and it's particularly even more interesting for the Trigger's broomstick because that's only 2 parts as it is.
Yeah.
So as soon as you break it apart, does that then become a new broom? Or as long as you're still using one of the old parts, does it carry over?
I don't know. That's still difficult. I would say probably
it is difficult
for something with 2 parts. I would probably say no. Once you've changed both parts, you've essentially got a new thing.
But as long as you've still got one of the old bits, it's still the old one. But the second you replace that, it's now entirely new.
So like say it was a broom that had a bit of string on the end of it, and somehow he was choosing to keep that bit of string on it. You could probably argue it was the same broom, but because everything's been changed about it, I suppose in a smaller space of time, it becomes a whole new thing. And
then if you expand that theory out to the ship, does that carry the same?
No, because
at some point it's all new. None of it's the original ship.
In theory, it's new, but because of the fact it's being used and weathered, it's not.
Yeah, it embeds itself. It becomes part of it. Yeah,
I think that's probably the fairer way to look at it.
Smaller things,
but I think for something like a broom,
things,
yeah,
we're allowing a lot more leniency.
Yeah, I
think I would feel a little bit robbed or upset if I went and it's like, oh, this is water.
I mean, you wouldn't consider the thing brand new. Do you know what I mean? Like that ship.
Or if you went out and you were like, this is the Beagle, this is Darwin's ship. And you went, oh, I'm touching, look, this bit. And you're like, actually, he never touched any of this. This has all been replaced.
Yeah.
You cannot touch a single part of this ship that he also touched. Then I'd be like, well, it's not really his ship, is it? It's a replica of his ship. It's a continuation of his ship. It's sort of not quite a replica, but somewhere in between.
Oh, I don't know.
Like a continuation, but it's not technically not.
I think it's hard to eradicate the history of the thing just because it's had replaced parts. If it was replicated...
But like I said, you lose that connection to the history of it. I can't touch a single bit of this ship that's also been touched by them.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, and I don't know why I don't necessarily agree with that.
It's only in that scenario, for me, that I switch to being, it's new. In all other scenarios, I'm kind of like, it's the same ship. But in that scenario, I do.
I guess
maybe it's because I'm a selfish bastard.
I guess so. Well, if you haven't been on something that a famous person never touched, then no, you can't boast, I've touched something that someone famous touched.
Yeah.
But no, I guess it's the history of the thing, I guess, in that situation, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
No, it's a difficult one, to be honest, but I think in general, smaller, it's brand new, older, no.
Sure, larger, no. That's
Right, next one. how far do bald people go when washing their face in the shower?
Oh, when does it become their
Yeah.
hair? I think there's a clear. I think it's about. I mean, this is only going to work if you're watching on YouTube, and even then it might lag. I think it's about here-ish.
Yeah, I think we were in agreement on that. I don't think you're washing your
I think
your scalp and
even a
thinking-
really receding hairline
yeah,
stops about there. It never gets
Yeah.
further than sort of there. Maybe a little bit behind where mine is.
yeah,
It never really gets further than that. So once you're up here, even though technically you're washing skin,
yeah,
what you're washing, you're not washing your face anymore.
yeah. I think that then becomes your head. I think we agree on that one.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Nice. I'll do.
Do you think you'd rock the bald look?
I did it when I was really young, and I had like people started finding me more intimidating.
No.
And then like my
Really feeds into this idea that people sometimes look at you and see a bouncer.
yeah, which is something we were discussing just before we came on the pod. Because I come wearing a puffy gilet and
Yeah, and he keeps
and camo.
refusing to do security at all my events.
Well, that's because I'm not actually good at security.
You don't need to. Listen. Everything about me is image.
I mean, I did
Just
once.
look good.
One of my favourite ever moments was we were going to a ladies' night event at a round table event. Do you remember?
I remember some of it. I got quite drunk for that.
yeah,
I
we
don't
did.
remember a lot of it.
Well, we went for pre-drinks at a local pub just down the road from here, and we were
Oh,
all suited and
yeah.
booted. Do you remember?
Yeah, well, not tuxes, but
Well, I went outside for a fag with one of our
'cause we went,
sort of listeners, Alex, who's a long time
he's
friend.
a new listener. I'll give him that.
Oh, is he
is a
actually
listener.
listening now? All right, fair enough. Well, to one of our listeners, Alex, and he went in before me because he smokes them quite quick. And I was just stood at the door smoking a cigarette, and this young girl went to walk in, saw me,
And showed you our ID.
and went to get her ID out. And I just laughed and went, "No, I'm not the bouncer," and let her in. And then there was an old guy out there with me. He was like, "Mate, come on, for the next one, if it happens again, you got to do it." And these two girls got out of a cab and came to the door and went to walk past. They sort of looked at me as if like, "Is he the bouncer?" And I just went, "Whoa, girls, IDs, please." And they went, "Oh, sorry." And
Do you know what the thing is,
and I
though?
literally, I proper checked and was like,
Two
yeah.
things stand out to me for that.
"What?"
One, very Wayne Cousins-y. Very, very abusive of power.
What do you
Power
mean?
you don't even have.
I took the power,
You
Jake.
took the power.
That's what you have to do sometimes in life.
Yeah. I you know.
To
sure.
all the people out there in
sure.
abusive relationships, take your power.
Is this like one of those get help podcasts now?
Well, I think it
Ladies,
helps.
you got to take that power.
Exactly.
You don't need no man.
And ironically, it's a story about me taking power from women.
Yeah. I mean, what this podcast is doing you no favours in is the misogyny.
really isn't. It really isn't.
I completely forgot what the second thing that it screamed to me was. But
Well, the first one
something.
was that I stole power. I took it.
yeah,
Abused it.
you sort of stop people and let them in, and
It was literally only a couple of people. I wasn't stood out there for an hour. Do you know what I mean?
well, no, that was the other thing that actually stood out to me. And now I remember it was, let's be honest, and not a lot of people won't be surprised at this. It was quite a lowbrow pub, and I think probably some people thinking there's no way this place has bouncers.
Well, that's the thing. To be honest, I didn't even think it would be a thing when I stepped outside. We were getting a lot of looks
No,
because
it's just
obviously,
because
we
we're
looked
dressed up. It's a
yeah.
lowbrow pub, and we're there in suits
yeah. So
and
we
bow
looked.
ties and shit.
We either looked like we were there for a funeral or
Not in a bow tie. Who goes to a funeral in a
we
bow
were-
tie?
one bloke thought I was some rich bloke's son that was there like slumming it.
Did he?
Yeah,
I'd take that as a compliment.
I didn't know because it was sort of like
I just looked like I'd won the jackpot in a charity shop or something. Like I'd come across some rags and been like, yeah, that'll do.
but no, that was a really good night actually. To be fair,
That was a great night. And from what I remember, I remember like little glimpses. So I remember, as we already mentioned, Dave. I remember being on Dave's shoulders on the dance floor.
Yes,
And I remember it was one of my favourite moments. It was like, it's such a white person thing, and I appreciate that. But so the DJ kind of like, right, that's it, that's the end of the night. And everyone was like, no, Mr. Brightside, you got to play Mr. Brightside. And he's like, no, that's it, end of the night. And everyone in the room started singing Mr. Brightside a cappella just to ourselves and raving to it.
yeah.
And then eventually the DJ relented and put it on and was like, all right, actually, last one. And that was a great moment. It's a very
Nice.
it's a very white person
I
song.
think I might have been
appreciate that.
outside when all that was going on.
Yeah, probably watching the door.
Yeah, probably. I think I probably was.
Probably eyeing up any vulnerable women that can come in that you can take their ID.
I didn't take their ID. I looked at their ID.
Yeah, just enough to get their address. And their,
No. Just checking their date of birth.
right.
Didn't want to get into any trouble.
Well, who's just gone? I've completely lost it.
It was me because it was bald and the
Oh,
head.
the bald thing. Okay, is a burrito a sandwich?
No, it's a wrap.
Interesting. Is a wrap a sandwich? No.
No. A sandwich is 2 bits of bread, something in
But
between.
a wrap is one.
Yeah, like a roll is, I would put in the sandwich category, but it is considered a separate thing in this country. But yeah, like a wrap.
We're
I think
connoisseurs of
wraps are
sandwiches
wraps.
in this country, really.
Wraps are different, I feel.
Yeah, wraps, you need a good beat. You need a good flow.
Yeah,
Some
it
good
needs
lyrics.
a bit of 8 Mile on in the background.
Yeah, just to get you in that headspace.
Yeah. Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I kind of do put it in a bit of a sandwichy category. I think anything
I think, look, it's in the family.
like filling and bread.
It's like in the periphery of what you would have for lunch, the things like wraps, sandwiches,
Well, yeah, I think
rolls.
anything that you can. First of all, you know, it's a filling and bread. It's traditionally
So
meat.
would you
but
call
also you can
Cornish
hold it.
pasty a sandwich?
You can hold it. No, because that's pastry. That's not bread.
But it's like a, yeah, but
That's my
like,
definition.
no, I think you're being unfair.
I was the bake off. I know the difference between a pastry and bread. Pastry and bread.
Yeah, but they both require baking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but they don't require. You don't need to prove pastry.
Well, you just get against
And
us,
also,
mate. I ain't
pastry is
got to
not
prove
pastry
anything.
dough. It's pastry. Bread
No,
is
but
you
still
stuff the
bake it.
dough. I'm just, yeah, you know, I think there is a
It's the
clear
same
definition between
process.
pastry and bread.
Well, at some point, both go in the oven. That's all I know.
But I'm saying for me, if it's a bread
I feel
and
like
filling
you're
type
not taking
thing,
the
then I
bacon
can eat
into
it.
it. Because what about a sausage roll?
Again, pastry. Again.
Do you know
You
what?
just-
I've just noticed that it's irritating Jake, and I'm just.
Okay, well, what about this one? 'Cause this one came up. What about hot dogs?
Would I consider it a sandwich? I suppose so, but you don't consider it a sandwich because you're eating a hot dog.
Again, it goes back to that thing we said earlier on. It's a gut feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, and that you could call it a sandwich, like a sausage sandwich, I guess, but but that's yeah. I suppose technically you could call it a sandwich, but I don't feel it's a sandwich.
Go on, name another pastry. Rile me up. Go on.
Thing is, you stopped me in my tracks with a hot dog. To be fair,
I had to do something because I was going to hit the roof. I was building up.
The thing is, yeah, I could just see after the first one. Oh, actually, this annoyed him. I'm going to keep going. Oh, thank you. What's the next one? Right. Why do we say we slept like a baby when babies notoriously don't sleep well?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. Some babies do sleep quite well.
Some do, but most, I would say.
No, certainly early doors. They kind of there's a longer period where they're not sleeping consistently.
What about slept like a log? I don't get where that comes from.
Well, a log don't move, does it?
Is it that simple?
I reckon so.
Oh, fair enough.
Like, I slept like a log, like what that thing that never goes
Yeah,
anywhere.
slept like a
doesn't it?
baby. What, did you wake up multiple
Yeah,
times
crying.
screaming and shitting yourself?
I mean, weirdly, there will come a point in later life where I do sleep like a baby.
We've all been there.
Yeah, I mean, to be
We've
honest,
all had an accident.
that night out, the ladies' night, I may well have slept like a baby that night. I don't remember much of it at all.
Oh dear. Right, have you got any others?
Yes. I have got some. Let me move through them. Okay, so I'll leave the one that we got to last, but this kind of dances around it. I think.
Okay.
Toilet paper over or under?
What do you mean?
Like, do you have it when you put the roll on the wall?
Either.
Do you have it? You're not bothered about it.
I'm not that worried.
You don't have a preference.
I mean, if I was going to choose, like if I was bothered,
If you're
about
doing it, like, do you do it the same way every time, or do you mix it up? Because you're weird if you mix it up, man.
I think I mix it up.
You're fucking weird. Who does that?
Well, it just doesn't really bother me. I think it goes easier if you have it over.
Over. That's my preference. Over.
But like, if it's under, I don't like
Under, you
lose my
like
nut.
pulling it
Do you know what
round
I
and
mean?
that. Over, it's more
Like
towards
if I
you,
walk
it's
into the
easier.
bathroom and see it's under, I'm not like throwing it at my mum's head going, "Oh!" Do you know what I mean?
See, I am, and your mum doesn't like it when I walk into her house and
No,
throw
no,
toilet
it's-
paper at her. She's not a fan of that.
She's asked you to stop several times.
She has asked me to stop many times, but she keeps putting it under.
That's why we have to do the
That's all
pod
she
over here.
expects.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm so tempted to
believe you
go
don't know
around
that.
your house to your bathrooms and because he's got more than one, guys. Turn the toilet rolls.
Yeah, you know, it's no big deal. It's no big thing. It's no thing. I swear to
I
God,
don't know
though,
why I felt
it
the
will
need
end
to
the
add
podcast.
that. I don't know why that. What would end the podcast?
If you start
Oh,
fucking
what
around
if
with
I
all the toilet paper. I swear to God, if you turn them around and then stick sausage rolls on top of them, that's it. We're through. And go,
What do you
here's a
have against
sandwich for
sausage
you.
rolls?
Nothing. I love a sausage roll, but if you leave a little note saying I left you a sandwich.
Don't get any from Tesco, Asda, and there was another one at the moment.
Why are they dodgy?
Contaminated, yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Contaminated with what?
Several of the plastic and wrong expiry dates.
That's what you want. That's what you want in a sausage. I'm not being funny. All the best sausages are cheap as shit, and they're filled with crap.
Yeah, I mean,
All the ones that are like, oh, they're really good, and we've only put really good
while
bits.
we're here, we're talking sausage rolls. Favourite sausage roll. There's only one for me.
I mean, it probably is Greg's, isn't it?
Yeah,
They
they've got.
do a good
I
sausage
think
roll.
what I like about the Greg sausage roll, and I know this isn't what we came here to talk about, but I'm passionate.
No, but look
about
at
it
us.
now
There's
we're
always an
here.
opportunity to discuss a
I
Greg's
feel
sausage
like
roll.
now I'm here, it's rude not to talk about it, and that's that. There's like a mix in that thing of like it's greasy but not greasy.
Oh, it is quite greasy.
It's,
It is quite greasy.
No, but it's not on the right side of greasy, so it feels bad, but it tastes good.
It does taste good. Yeah, it does taste good. They got a good texture to it. a
with
good
or without
consistency to the
ketchup?
pastry. Well, I don't like ketchup, so I said no.
Oh,
That's no go question
Jesus
for me.
Christ! Talk about something to head the podcast over. What do you have with your chips then? You just have dry
Just don't need
chips.
them. Depends what you have. You can have barbecue sauce. You can have mayonnaise. You can have
Fair enough.
beans.
But like, you don't just go dry, do you?
Sometimes.
Oh, gee. Right, is it my turn next?
Your turn next.
And then are we doing the big one?
Well, no, I've got a couple more after that. So
Okay. Can you stand backwards on a flight of stairs?
I see what you mean. That's a
Yeah.
very good. It all depends on two things.
It blew my mind when I thought about it. To be
Depends on
honest.
two things.
What?
One, the direction you've come from. Two, the
Yeah.
direction you're going to go in. Because it's something you're not going to live standing on the stairs, right? At some point, you're going to move
No, but like, even if you went onto the steps,
and turned around.
you're still. It doesn't matter because you're comfortable travelling in either direction. I think what you could consider backwards is if you stood like with one foot on one and one.
Equally,
no,
what about this? If
you're
someone,
back facing either the wall or the stairs.
all right, and I'm throwing in some context here. But what if you're having a conversation with someone or you're playing catch with someone or something up the stairs and you go halfway down and then you turn around from them? Is that now facing backwards because the focus is at the other end?
Well, yeah, but you're not on the stairs. The question is on a flight of stairs.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're on the stairs. You go down the stairs or up the stairs or whatever and then turn
But
away
you
from
have
the
to be
person.
both standing on the stairs.
Oh, do you?
Well, yeah, of course you would. If you're at the bottom of the stairs but not on the stairs, then yes, you could have your back to the
No,
stairs.
like someone's at the bottom of the stairs,
yeah,
for example,
on
talking
the
to you,
step or off of it.
or off of it, and you're on the stairs halfway
Right.
up and you're talking to them, and then you
Yeah.
turn around. You're on the stairs, but are you now facing backwards because you're facing away from them?
No, because you're travelling in the direction you want to go.
But then you turn around, you come back down. It was never your intention to go all the way up.
Yeah, but you changed your mind. Your new direction of travel is the other way. So no,
I don't know. I think you can be backwards on the flight
no,
of stairs.
I don't think you can. I think only if your back is like facing the wall or
I think, like
the
I said,
railing.
it depends what direction you've come from, what direction you're going in. If you go halfway up and you've got no intention
no,
of going
but
all the way
like
up
no
and
one
you turn
goes.
around.
The thing is, though, no one goes on the stairs to just stand on the stairs.
Grand old Duke of York, I bet he did it. Duke of York.
What are you on about?
You know, when he was up, he was up. When he was down, he was down.
No,
When he was neither halfway up.
I've no idea.
When he was
what
either
you're
up nor
talking about.
down. You know, he must have done it. His stairs in his house must have been a nightmare.
I have no idea what you're talking.
Never heard the
about.
Grand Old Duke of York, the like the
fucking
kids song, the nursery rhyme.
No.
The Grand Old Duke of York had 10,000 men. He marched them up to the top of the hill and then back down again.
All right.
When
that
they were up,
does
they were
sound
up.
Familiar.
When they were down, and when they were neither halfway up, when they were only halfway up, they were neither up nor down.
Right.
You don't know that.
I might
Well, no, I
have
was just like a
heard it.
tit who's just fucking
I mean, yes, you do look
quoting
like a tit.
nursery rhymes like in a very serious manner.
Yeah, you do look like a tit.
Well, yeah, but that's got nothing to do with this.
Right, so we'll have to agree to disagree.
Yeah, we will have to agree to disagree. I like that. We've had too many where we've just gone 30 seconds in, asked the question, yes or no, move on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got a few more very quickly. So, do you put your socks on first or your pants on first? And is there a better way, a wrong way?
I have done it either. I think sometimes, if I'm completely naked, pants.
Me too.
But like, say like you're getting changed, you've just put some socks on, you go, oh, do you know what? I could do a change in my pants. Then the pants would come off and the pants come on.
But then you've already had the pants on. You know, first thing first, you put the pants on in the morning. They were the first things that went on.
Well, like normally they're on from the night before.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. If you're like you said, completely naked.
Yeah, pants
they
would
go
go
on
on first. Yeah.
Okay. When you're doing up a shirt, do you do the buttons from the top to the bottom or bottom to the top?
Top to bottom.
Yeah, I do top to bottom.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's a right or wrong way with that. You know, I'm happy
I think
to say
like
that.
from the bottom, like I can't.
I think there's no right or wrong way with that. Though. No, I think
fair.
you just do what you do.
Yeah.
Okay, couple more like seriously ones. Should homework be banned?
It's a difficult one. I think kids need it because they have to learn that not all time is their time to have a laugh, and like sometimes you need to be serious. But like having seen my sister have to do homework with my nephew, more than anything, it's just punishment for the parents.
Yeah.
And I think especially when parents, like nowadays more than ever, have to juggle so much for them to have to somehow find time. Because like, especially for like a mum that's trying to get back into work, for example, their working day would need to be something ridiculous like 3 or 4 hours so that they could still fit in everything they need to do for their children.
It's nice trying to win women back on side. I like it.
Well, no, I think for all parents, whether it's a dad at home or...
I feel quite strongly about this.
I think I would probably say yes, ban it.
I think definitely ban it. And I think there's a few reasons. I think one, like you said, it ends up just being a nightmare for the parents.
Yeah.
Two, quite frankly, if you can't teach my child in the time that you're allotted, either give yourself more time,
yeah,
or be more efficient. You know, get better at
I
it.
think,
but also
I think
that
the
was
main
my opinion as a
function of
child.
homework,
That's not my opinion now, maybe much.
I think the main function of homework is to find a way to continue the learning process, not just when they're with you, to sort of refresh your knowledge on certain aspects of what you're studying.
I think there's going to be plenty of time. You sort of said something in your answer to this. There's going to be plenty of time when you don't have any time for yourself.
Yeah.
When your time is not your time, it's always someone else's time. There's always something to do. So when you're a kid, like make the most of that fact that you've got so much time that is your time.
Yeah,
like let's not punish that. that.
But I think at the same time,
it just ends up being. And also,
the only other thing though, like I said, ultimately I said I would ban it, but I think there are other things to consider. Like at some point during their life, like once you get to secondary school, and particularly when you're doing stuff like A levels onwards, and then going to uni, you're going to have to get used to doing work outside of class time and either coursework or if you do it's whatever you're doing for your course in uni, whether it's your dissertation or whatever it is.
Yeah, fair. I mean that's a fair thing to throw at me. Certainly, I'll say.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I
did
would
my
say
dissertation in 2 days.
but like
than a year.
if you then went through your entire education or most of it having never been expected to do work outside of learning time, to then have that amount of work
I can respect that argument, but I think also there's
so there's perhaps a balance to
also
be found.
it comes a point when certainly when I got into like high school, it's like it never gets done anyway. You can set it all you want, but no one's doing it, and they're just going to find ways to forge.
But I think they proper
doing
follow up on it now though. Like my sister has like this little book, and she has to write in it every day what pages he read, what work he's done.
So this is what we had to do. We had planners.
And if that's not done, like my sister will get follow-up emails or phone
so
calls.
we had planners, and we used to have to write in the homework and stuff, and then our parents used to have to sign it at the end of every week.
So do we.
And our forger did it. I mean, everyone just forged it. Like literally everyone in my class. When they said, right, Thursdays or whatever it is, at lunchtime, don't forget I'm going to be checking planners. Everyone would say to start it alphabetically through the list, through the register. Literally everyone got out their planners and started forging it.
I think
every single one of us, without fail. Good kids, bad kids.
The first year, maybe my parents were quite good at making sure I'd done it and were signing it off legit. And then I think my school just stopped being as hot on it.
Well, I know someone who has a sort of it's called pathological demand avoidance.
I forged it a couple of times when I genuinely hadn't done the work, and
And I know a few parents who have kids who have this. It's called pathological demand avoidance, and it's usually found in sort of quite low functioning autistic, not low functioning, but it's found in autistic people. And what happens is it ends up causing a meltdown anytime you ask them to do anything. And so what happens is, particularly once they've made the distinction between school is school and home is home, if you try and impose something on them and get them to do it, they just melt down. And what it is a fucking nightmare for the parents, even more so. And we've already expressed that it is a nightmare for parents as it is.
Yeah.
Even more so.
No, that's fair. I think that's fair.
Okay, ready? This is one. Are we already living in a dystopian future? I.e., from the perspective of someone from the past, would they look at what's happening now and consider it, particularly here in Britain, would they consider it a dystopian future?
I think it's close.
It's very close, isn't it? From our perspective.
It's difficult to argue as a working class person looking at like my prospects in life going forward. And for most people in my situation going forward, in this country in particular, it's not a very, well, it's not a positive one, but it's certainly not what you would expect.
No, particularly this last 2 or 3 months where we've had rising energy prices and energy firms going bust. We've had a fuel crisis where no one's been able to get any fucking petrol. And it's and obviously there's reasons for it, and contextually there are a lot of reasons for it, and it's calmed down either, but it's like, there's quite a lot of incidents that would fit perfectly in a film.
Yeah,
of a dystopian future, and they're happening. They're real.
Things like
we're killing livestock because we don't have the people to
or because we haven't got
to farm them.
Yeah, but like even at the moment, like I would have never seen homeless people around where I live before growing up.
It's big,
and now it's a regular occurrence.
Well, a lot of them are still in
and I don't say that in
the
a sense of like, oh God, it's like I just find it desperately sad, and I can't believe it most of the time. And it's one of the reasons I don't like going uptown to London, because it's all you see when you go around. I find it impossible to walk round and not see homeless people.
And also, we're living in an era where, and I know we try not to make the non-political ones political, we're living in an era where, in a giant pandemic, hundreds of thousands of people have died, and the government are basically turning around and telling us flat out to our face, no, we didn't say the things that we said before. We didn't make the decisions. And they're not being called out on it. They're just like, oh, that's okay. We're just all meant to pretend that they never did what they did. It's quite dystopian.
The thing is, though, and also, if we look back to what we talked about when the pandemic was first happening, we predicted that would exactly happen.
Yeah.
That I said my fear was that come the next time we have a general election, they would have had enough time after the pandemic to
make everyone forget it.
Yeah, basically. And to be honest, I don't think people bought into the real narrative that this government massively failed, and has massively failed as long as the Conservatives have been in power.
No, I think definitely, as you said, if it's not, it's what it is. I think the answer is yes. I think from the certain perspective of the past, we are living in a dystopian future. But I think living in it, it's very hard to accept that, because that means admitting that you are living in
dystopia,
far from ideal situations. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, though, in reality, our version of dystopia compared to someone in the Middle East, or somewhere where there's actual genuine conflict going on that's horrific, and I mean, if you lived in Gaza at the moment,
but there's always that argument of there's somewhere worse, isn't
dystopian.
If you
it doesn't mean what we're going through isn't important, but it does help lend perspective.
If you ever read 1984 or watch it, I should say at this point, I've never actually seen it. Yeah, but part of the thing is, their whole thing is they're always at war. The country's always at war, and the fighting's always over there, and it's always like, no, they've got it worse off.
Yeah.
The fight. Trust us. Okay, you guys have got it really, really. It's always worse over there, and so that there is an element of that.
No, I think there is. But yeah.
Shall we get onto the big one?
Yeah. So I want to. Who do you want to?
No, you can do it.
Right. So I wrote a cheeky question down, and I think
it's come up before, basically, for us.
Why does my podcast co-host want to kill me if he gets cancer?
No, that's not what I've got.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hello. Sorry, do you want to read it again then? So
yeah.
Why does my co-host?
Why does my podcast co-host? This was from someone who wrote in, by the way.
Yeah.
Someone wrote in.
an anonymous thing.
Yeah, why does my podcast co-host want to kill me if he gets cancer or a terminal diagnosis?
Because he's selfish and he's a bad person. If hypothetically, to this person,
look,
that's what I would say.
To be
I'm not
honest,
saying that against anyone here.
I can understand the
anger.
Not the anger, the intention of the one that's got the terminal diagnosis. And I think, if anything, the person who's being taken with them should be honoured that that's what's happening.
It feels really special. It does feel, when you said it, I did feel very much like, oh boy, you know.
Well, like, we'll be together forever.
I was, I remember, and you can listen back, you can go back and listen back. My first reaction was like, oh man, do you mean it? Really? Are you sure you picked me? Oh my God, that's so nice. That's so sweet of you.
I think you should feel honoured, to be honest.
Yeah. Who doesn't like dying?
I think you're being really ungrateful.
He doesn't like me killed. I am being really ungrateful. Do you know what? I'm not grateful enough for my death.
The thing is,
There's no gratitude for my murder.
Like, to be honest, I think your family will understand. Because they know as well as I do, if I died of a terminal illness, you're milking it all the way to the bank.
Yeah, but they might profit off the milking of the podcast.
No, they wouldn't. You're not sharing.
Yeah, okay, that's a fair point. I probably wouldn't share. But it was a nice ponderance for like 2 seconds before we shut it down.
Nah, I'm only joking. I wouldn't kill you.
I mean, I've already got it on record that you would. It's already there.
To be honest, I probably wouldn't be strong enough at that point. I'm dying of cancer.
I'll tell you what's going to happen, though. Our podcast is going to get huge because it's going to be used in a court case, in like a really popular court case.
Well, then Leanne can benefit from my residuals when I'm
Fuck
gone.
that. If you're killing me, I'm killing her. We're going to start a chain.
No, but the thing is, you're dead. You can't then kill her.
Yeah, but if you get a terminal diagnosis, I know what's coming.
No, but obviously I'm not going to tell you.
What, that you've got a terminal diagnosis?
So you're just going to die thinking he's murdered
So we're gonna sit down to record a podcast, and I'm gonna be like, "Why have you brought the knives?
No, be more subtle than
Cooking
that.
set?
No, I think I'd probably poison you.
Wow, you don't cook anything for me anyway, so how's that gonna work?
I have cooked you dinner before. How dare you?
Oh, but yeah, no, because well, yeah, but the thing is, now if you cook me dinner, I'm not gonna eat it, am I?
Well, if I invite you round for a meal, you're automatically going to assume.
If you invite me round for dinner, I'll probably come round and say rippers and then leave without touching any of the food.
Rippers is an inside joke. I want it to become a thing for the podcast.
I'll say to Leanne,
I can picture in my head T-shirts that say
rippers.
Well,
I'll say to your fiance, I'll say sorry for your loss,
rippers,
and I'm out. I'm not going to stick. I'm certainly not going to eat or drink anything. But like, why is my wine bright yellow? Why is my water bubbling?
To be honest, I'm not going to cook you a meal to poison you. Like, I don't know. I'm going to find out where you're going to a restaurant. I'm going to pay someone.
This gets high. I always know why you've got assassination money.
Yeah, I have. It's all the loans I took out.
Yeah, shut up.
It's all the loans I'll take out.
It had nothing to do with actual
dying.
living or anything. It was just you knew that one day you might get a terminal diagnosis and you needed the assassination money.
I knew there's a chance I was going to have to pay some people off.
You couldn't do it yourself. You look me in the eyes while you killed me.
Well, no, I'll tell you what. I'll go. No, but the thing is, even if I bribe someone, I'm going to have to go into the kitchen myself, put it in the food.
You're still going to do it?
Yeah. Oh,
nice
sorry,
little
guys.
preview of what I'll sound like.
I've had this horrific sort of Jesse action thing, and the cough just won't shift.
Fucking bullshit. You're not going to poison me. You're going to infect me. You're
Well,
just going to come in here coughing at me.
I'm not.
Knowing full well that I'm asthmatic.
I haven't coughed at you once.
Yes, because you've not got the diagnosis yet.
Right, so I'm really interested to find out what your one is now.
My one I know is controversial between us.
Oh, okay.
When you wipe your arse, do you stand or do you sit? So we did this in our little group of friends.
I did think about it.
I can't remember who brought it up, but all of us, and I swear to God,
it might have been me.
Right, no word of a lie. Have this discussion with your friends because you'll think the same thing that every single one of us thought. We thought, this is a dumb thing to ask because there's only one answer. No one else does this differently.
And
then watch the reaction and be like, how the fuck can anyone do it differently? And it just exploded. So we'll give you a little taste of what it was like for us because we were both on different sides of this.
And it was, do you stand or sit when wiping your ass?
Yeah.
In the toilet.
Because I sit.
And I stand.
And I just don't know why you need to stand up to do it.
Because, like,
it's such a formal
if
thing.
you think about it, and like, right, so like for the people on Spotify or wherever you're getting this, like you're like having to like reach down behind you.
You're going through the side.
What do you mean through? So now
But
you
you kind of like, you slightly lift up. Yeah, slightly
how are
behind
you
to the
getting a
side.
clean wipe doing that? And in my bathroom at home, if I did that, I'd be pressed up against the wall next to the toilet.
Well, I'm not
We
contorting
ain't got,
myself.
like,
Look at this. Is it? This is
three
it. We're already
bathrooms
going up.
in our
And
house.
also, at one point, you turned around and you were like, "Yeah, but you're just wiping shit up your back." And it's like,
What?
how inefficient do you think I am? I'm like,
No, but just logistically, if you're going from the back or the side, all right, so if you're not wiping it on your back, you're wiping it on your thigh underneath.
wait, okay, let me move the mic and I'll try and demonstrate to you. Okay,
Please
like this
do.
is obviously for
For people
YouTube. For
on
people listening,
YouTube.
you're going to get nothing. I can't do it justice because the chair's not got a hole in it. Or bear in mind, I'm normally sitting on something with a hole in it. I'm not shitting on flat chairs.
And also, their toilet does have armrests.
Stop it. Wipe, drop. Wipe, drop.
So you don't even look at the tissue.
Wipe, yeah, I can look at the tissue. From there.
How?
How? Because I'm not like rigid. I'm not like paralysed. I can turn my neck.
No, but like that means you're having to lift even further so you can have a.
Oh, just wipe.
Other
Have a little
pictures.
look. Drop it.
I'm not buying it.
Honestly, though, if you want a good laugh, ask that question amongst your friends.
So like,
you won't go wrong.
I sort of stand and squat a little bit because it opens the
You
arse
just don't
out.
need it.
and you have full
You just don't
access.
need to do that. I think it's just
You
so
do.
unnecessary.
No, you get full cleanness.
Just
that
so
way.
I never had a dirty
No, I
arsehole.
bet
I've
you have
never,
a
I've
dirty
never
arse.
like.
There's no way your
I'm
arsehole
not
is as
walking around with
clean
like
as
skid
mine.
marks. I'll get it out. I'll show you. I'll prove to you.
You've seen mine before. It was
I'll prove
fluffy,
to you
but
it's
it was
fluffy.
clean. But it
You
was
obviously didn't
clean.
wipe the fluff off when you were doing your full squatting
Well, no, that's from
extension.
sweating, Jake. That's boxer fluff.
Wouldn't need to sweat that much if you wipe your arse properly.
I'm warm-blooded and fat. Deal
Like it's
with
just
it.
so formal to like stand up to wipe. It's like, well, that's
It's
done
not.
now. and
There's
I'll-
nothing formal
like-
about wiping your
No,
arse.
but it's like the child that goes to the
Alright,
urinal
I'll
and drops
tell you
their
what, another
trousers and
question.
pants.
How many times do you use a bit of toilet roll to wipe?
Well, I would never use the same bit twice.
Really? You're just wasting.
Well, no, I'd wipe and then sort of like readjust my position of holding it to get a clean bit,
See, this is the other
and then I
problem.
wipe.
With you doing that, you can't use both hands properly because you're having to balance to lean.
I'm not balancing to
Whereas,
lean. I
like,
just
when
sit
I'm
back down. I'm
standing,
sitting. I just
I've
sit.
got access to both hands. I wipe once, fold
just
it,
once.
wipe, and then sometimes freeze.
I'm just saying, like, I don't. It's not that big a deal.
I think
But seriously, ask your friends.
you're wiping shit up your back and you're wasting
Would you at
toilet
least?
roll.
I'm not wiping shit up my back. Like I'm not
The
walking
thing
around
is, you
with.
wouldn't even
I'm not
know
wa-
if you did or not.
You don't think I'd know if I had shit on my back?
How'd you see it?
How do you? Well, you'd feel it, and you'd
What do you
know
mean you'd
when you
feel
walk
it?
around and you stink of shit.
I mean, that's one, but like you wouldn't see it.
But would you not though recommend that people ask their friends this?
absolutely
It does
would.
get really heated. Because honestly, in my head,
Some
when
people
you-
get really uncomfortable when you ask them.
when you asked it, in my head, genuinely, I was like, "There's only one way. Like there is no other." What do you mean? Like there is no other way? And then about half the table sort of said that they did what you did, and I was like,
yeah,
"But why? You don't need to do that. You can just sit and." Yeah. Anyway,
maybe it's a
good
bigger
thing.
person thing, but Ash is a fairly big guy, and
Yeah, and he sits. He sits.
So
I just don't know. Yeah, and didn't Alex sit?
I think so.
You don't need to stand. It's such a
Like,
weird
I
thing.
just think it's far easier to clean, much easier access.
Oh, I think it's easier to clean. It's so
I
because
really
also
don't
the
see how it's
strain on your
easier.
thighs when you're like
What
squatting.
do you mean? No, but I'm
You're
not.
not Mark. You're not.
I'm not as low as I am now.
No,
do
but
you
you're
know
not
what I mean?
Bielsa, bro. You don't have like that. You don't have that
No,
leg
but-
power.
No, but when I say squatting, it's literally just a gentle bending of the knees. I'm not.
It
like,
just tires
I'm
them
not
so
slut,
quickly.
I'm not slut dropping.
It just well, you've got a slut drop to get like the full open
No,
arsehole that
you
you want to
haven't.
go
You
for.
haven't.
You want
Literally,
full open.
You just slightly widen your legs and the arse cheeks just.
You want to get like proper as if you're about to be ploughed, like full access,
No, mate.
ease of cleaning.
No, that's just you.
Yeah, right. Sometimes I want my arse on all fours, and what? No, you sit. It's just a weird thing. But ask your friends.
Well, look, I think that's as good a place as
Yeah, because
any.
we're not going to resolve this at all.
No,
And the thing is, like when I said to you at the start of this question, oh, we just want to give you a taster of what our discussion was like. It's all we can do because every time this comes up, it rages
It
on, and it
becomes,
honestly never goes
the
away.
thing is, it got to a point where it was very heated at one point.
It got really, it
Like,
got so
'cause
fucking
The thing
heated.
is, it didn't help that we were all drunk. To
No,
be fair.
but it almost came to blows. Like we would never come to blows amongst our friends
No,
because
but
we
it
love
got
each
to
other
the
and we're
point
friends.
where like
It
we
was
were
as close as we'd
questioning why
come.
we were
I
friends.
mean, it was as close as it ever came. It got
Because
so
like you were sat there
heated.
going like, how can I walk around with this back,
Everyone
his
got
pooey back
so
arsehole.
animated.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
So animated. It was so brilliant.
this guy's going around with a dirty bum.
I remember me and Ash talking about it. It's like, but how are you? What is your wiping technique that you think by sitting you're going up your back? I'm not going up my back.
No, but the way I wipe, so I laid the...
It's like full on arm extension, apparently.
I put the toilet roll across my whole hand. I then position it at the bum and I pull up.
I just think, like, it's that. I can pull away before I get to my back.
Yeah, but then you're still risking getting it down here.
I'm not risking getting it down there. You pull it away.
I don't know.
I'm not, like, listen. Anyway,
I'm not
this is going
comfortable with
nowhere. This is going absolutely nowhere because it's seriously is not going to get resolved.
And the thing is, you can't help yourself either. You have to, like...
Defend your
You
position.
think of something else that why it's wrong, and you're just like...
No, and also you feel, I don't know about you, but you feel really attacked because someone starts telling you you're wrong for doing it. And
something
you're like,
you do multiple times.
No, you're wrong.
Yeah.
It's really heated.
But guys, let us know what you think, Jake. Where
Do
can they tell us?
you stand or sit? And you can email us, not pictures, please, or videos, at crossingswords19@gmail.com.
If you want to send me a picture of you wiping your bum, please don't.
Yeah, no, I don't need that. You can find us on Facebook, Crossing Swords. You can find us on YouTube with links to which will be in our social media pages, on our social media pages. And they are at Swords Crossing as well on Twitter and Crossing Swords_podcast on Instagram.
You.
You.
Guys, as always, it's been a pleasure.
It has, and I hope you've learned something. I hope you've
But
gone away with
please,
lots of questions.
There's two things I want after this podcast. One is for rippers to become a thing. And secondly, I want you to message us and say how you wipe your arseholes.
Stand or sit. That's all you need to say. We don't need any context. No one else. Anyone who hasn't listened to this to this podcast can read the comments on Facebook or read the mentions on Twitter.
I know my sister who listens to this now agrees with you that sitting is the...
Well, why wouldn't she? She's normal. I don't
she's
know.
Not. She's really
well,
not.
she is. I'm telling
Anyone
you now.
who's
The
met
proof
my
is there.
sister-
The proof is there.
Trust me, I know her better than you. She ain't normal.
She sits. It's all I need to know.
Right. If that's what you're basing your life decisions off of.
Listen, all I'm saying is anyone who doesn't listen to the podcast will never know if you're just saying stand and sit. They have no idea what you're talking about. But we know. Stand or sit. That's the big debate of our lifetime.
And I think that's as good a place as any.
Yeah.
And for now, I stand.
Well, you're sitting at the moment.
But metaphorically.
Figuratively, you stand. Yeah.
I'm standing. Bye-bye.
Bye.